Okay, so good morning. We are holding today's Daf Yomi. We're actually holding Daf Yomi Menachos by the Mishnah. Hopefully today we will catch up to where we need to be. So today we are going to discuss what kind of combinations are good combined for Pigul, and what combinations do not work for Pigul, such as food and Haftarah do not combine, but food and food do combine. We'll go into that. A machshava of Pigul from Kmitza of the soilus to Kmitza of the Levina, what kind of effect that has. And the scary terms of Chatzi Matir, Numusogim, Chatzi Matir, or Ein Matir Mefagel Matir. Not that scary, but we're going to get into it. And then a sugi about Levina. Gathering the Levina from on top of the soilus, can it be done by Yisrael? Is that considered an avoida or not? Now we have a beautiful sugya of if somebody's mefagel just one part of an animal or one of the two breads, what happens to the other bread? What happens to the rest of the animal? So let's start with the Mishnah on Daf Yomi Menachos. Says the Mishnah, Lechol kechatzi zayis ulahakti kechatzi zayis. So he did kmitza to eat a half a kazayis of the shirayim, and that's really good because it's a half a kazayis to eat. So that's a good kind of pigul. But the problem is it's only half a shir. It's chatzi zayis. So how did he get the full kazayis? Ulahakti kechatzi zayis.
He means lachar
Yeah. This is still we're talking about pigul, lachar zman, chutz l'zmanu, and chutz l'mkayma. So what he did over here was, he said to himself, I am going to eat the shirayim, the chutz l'zman, let's say, but only a half a gezayis, and I'm also going to put a half a gezayis onto the mizbeach, lachar zman. Says the Mishnah, kosher, she'ein achila v'haktarim etztarfin. Now, we are going to go to the chart. Chart number 1, the only chart for today. First chart in the Menachos. We're getting back into it. So, in order of chumrah, in other words, in order of not, this is the worst, second to worst, the best. What's going on here? The first case is chatzi zayis of shirayim, which is edible, and a chatzi zayis lahakdir. He's not eating it, he's going to put it on the mizbeach. That's the worst case. In other words, it's the least pigul. Why? Because you have two things that don't really belong together. You have Haftarah and Achila. And you have case 2. A half a case, which is eating, and then he also said he's going to eat the claimants. They're both eating, but one is not edible because one belongs in the mizbeach. The kmitza belongs in the mizbeach, so it's not for human consumption. It's not royal achila, where the other chatzi kazayis, the shirayim, is royal achila. That's a bad case. It's not. Maybe it shouldn't be pigul, but it's not as bad as Haftarah and oichel. And then you have the easiest case, which should be pigul, which is they're both oichel, and they're both royal achila. They're both edible. Just he did a chatzi kazayis with one intent, and the other chatzi kazayis with the other intent. One he thought about chutz l'zman, and the other chatzi kazayis chutz l'machar. And now we're going to go through these three cases. The Mishnah mentions case number 1. Case number 1, if he had a chatzi zayis lachila and a half a kazayis lachtorah, is not pigul, they're not mitzvah, which would be mashma. The case number 2 and 3 are mitzvah, and that's what we're going to discuss right now. Zog the Gemara. I just made the chart because it becomes confusing in a second. Achila and achila, royal achila, not royal. I'm just going to say 2 and 3. You guys figure out the rest yourself. What? The lashon achila. No, so we're gonna see sheet in a second. You're probably talking about that one goes okay, that's one sheet. We're gonna see that, yeah. Chazara. You say the lashon achila even though it belongs on the mizbeach. Okay.
In the second case, it could be a one where that's what the Gemara is going to discuss.
Right. But let's see inside. Says the Gemara, Kaima de lechol lahakti. The Mishnah only talks about case number 1, where you have nachila and aptara. They don't belong together, so therefore they're not mitzvah for one kezais of pigul. Oh, lechol v'lechol. If you have a chatz kezais of achila and a half a kezais of achila, in other words, one is shirayim and one is a kaimitz. But what kind of achila? V'lechol davar she'ein darki lechol. Seems from Mishnah mitzvah. Otherwise, why wouldn't the Mishnah bring the better case? A case that would seem like is mitzvah, but it's not mitzvah. It's a much bigger chiddush. If I said that if you have two achilas, they're also not mitzvah. In what case? Where one is shiraim and the other one is a kaimitz, it's not royal achila. So obviously, we see from the Mishnah that if you do case number 2, chatzi zayis of shiraim and chatzi zayis of kaimitz, they are mitzvah. It is pigul. In the Mishnah we learned yesterday, the ratio, it says lechol dover shadaki lechol. Ulakti dover shadaki lahaktir. It says in the Mishnah that how do you do pigul? By eating something that's royal achila, meaning something that's not royal achila. Dover shadaki lechol in, shadaki lechol loy. So you see from the Mishnah that you cannot make pigul on something that's not royal achila. So why are you telling me that you could make something pigul even though it's not royal achila, that it's mitzvah? Says the Gemara, Mantana, who's the Tana of this Mishnah that we just learned? You're right. It's two Tanoim. In the first Mishnah, the Tana holds that if it's not royal achila, you cannot do pigul on a koimetz. Right? If somebody were to think to himself, I'm going to eat this kmitz itself, not the shirayim, the kmitz itself, I'm going to eat it chutzazman. In our Mishnah, the first Mishnah, it says it's not considered pigul. You can't have a bad intent of pigul on something that's not royal achila. Whereas in our Mishnah goes according to Rabbi Elazar that what Rabbi Eliezer dom machashim achilas sodom lachilas mizbeach machis mizbeach lachilas sodom. They're intertwinable. They go from achilas odom to achilas mizbeach.
You can combine them.
You can combine, yes. So if something's not royal achila because it belongs on the mizbeach, such as a kmitza, it is considered royal achila according to Rabbi Eliezer. In terms of achila, it's an achila. This man, hakoy mitzvah samin cholechol dover shein darki leechol ulahaktir dover shein darki lahaktir kosher. Rabbi Eliezer poisel. Rabbi Eliezer says that something that's not royal achila can become pigul. Now, our whole chap over here, because the Mishnah said case number 2. Why did the Mishnah say case number? The Mishnah said case number 1. The Mishnah should have said case 2. Says Abaye, no. The deal is the Mishnah said case number 1. It should have said case number 3. The easiest case. Okay. Don't make the deal. Don't make the deal that it comes to say that case number 2 is mitzdaref. No. Case number 3, the easiest case, that he did chatzi zayis b'chutz and chatzi zayis chutz zman, chatzi zayis chutz l'makom, that is mitzdaref. However, case number 2 would not be mitzdaref. It would be like case number 1. Eleima, what is the deal? Halechol v'lechol, meaning 2 achilos, they're very different achilos, because if they're the same achilo, then of course it's mitzvah. If somebody's thinking to himself, a chatzi zayis mechutz zman and a chatzi zayis mechutz zman, that of course is mitzvah. What he did was chatzi zayis chutz zman and chatzi zayis chutz l'makom. That's the chiddush that it is mitzvah.
That's
yeah, the Mishnah says that only the first case of chatzi zayis lechol, chatzi zayis lakir is not mitzdaref, but the case of chatzi zayis mechutz zman, chatzi zayis chutz l'makom is mitzdaref. U'may kamash malam. And so, what would be the chiddush in our Mishnah then? If that's the case, oh, behet yiktoni lo. It says mefurish in the first Mishnah we learned yesterday. This exact case, lechol k'zayis b'chutz v'k'zayis l'machor. If somebody combines the two bad intents, k'zayis l'machor v'k'zayis b'chutz, chatzi zayis b'chutz v'k'zayis l'machor, chatzi zayis l'machor v'k'zayis l'chutz, Puzzle. The two machshavos of Mokim and Zman are mitzdaref, even in the Chatzit Zayis, certainly Kizayis. Possible in Bikoras. By the way, Taisus points out here, he says, Mikan ve'elach ksuv b'sforim b'shibush. The wording here is not very accurate. He brings the Gemara in Zvachim that doesn't bring this, but we're going to read it anyways, even though we're going to have some difficulty reading it. Sulamali. Why do I need our Mishnah to tell us a chiddush that we already had in the Mishnah, the first Mishnah? If you're telling me that it comes to be mechadish, that case number 2 is mitzdaref, Mereisha shamis mino. I already know it from the ratio. Why? Because the first Mishnah says that it has to be something that's roy lachilo, darki lechol, meaning something that's not derech lechol is mitzdaref. Darki lechol kumash mitzdaref reish shamis mino. Kechatzi zayis lemocher posel, hokechatzi zayis lemocher, v'kach zayis lemocher pigul. Fine. It does become pigul. Now, if you're telling me that our Mishnah, and the wording is weird, if you're telling me that our Mishnah is coming to tell us our Mishnah, exactly the case of our Mishnah, that what? That you could be that you can't be mitzaref achilu with haktara. I don't need that either. Why? I can learn it from a kavachomer, so to speak. That what? If case number 2 is not mitzdaref, so certainly case number 1, that's a lot worse, is not mitzdaref. Yeah? You following? Okay. If 2 achilos, even though one of them is not roy because it's a koimetz, it's not mitzdaref. Do I need to tell us our Mishnah? They have an achila and aktara, 2 separate maisim that they're not mitzdaref. Certainly they're not mitzdaref for pigul.
You do, because again, that's an achila and a type of achila also. It's an achila shmizbeach, as opposed to an achila and a double shayla is not an achila.
Okay, so maybe you're being mechavin somewhat to the Gemara. Says the Gemara in, I do need a specific Mishnah, and I'm not going to learn this chiddush out of a deal. So over there, he didn't do the right way. In number 2, when he was thinking about shirayim and thinking about koimetz, it's not normal to eat a koimetz. Koimetz goes on the mizbeach, so he did something out of the norm. So I would think that's why the Mishnah had to tell us that it's not mitzdaref. But over here he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. They're just separate maisim. You're supposed to be makter and you're supposed to eat. He just took those 2 maisim and put them together for a pigul. So that's why the Mishnah says, Ein mitzdaref, I would think that it is mitzdaref. Mash malon, our Mishnah tells us it's not mitzdaref. Hadr haloch kol hamenochois. So we finished our first parak in Menachos. Unbelievable. We just started last week and we're holding up Yud Gimel. It's amazing how time flies. But boys, I just wanted a short announcement. For those of you who don't know, on Thursday nights at 9 o'clock, I give a sikum shir, basically a synopsis of the 7 daf of the week, but it's in Hebrew. Whoever understands Hebrew or whoever wants to eat shalom and kishka and schnitzel is welcome to come tonight at Nachal Noam 2 every Thursday night. All right, Zok the Mishnah. Schnitzel, sushi sometimes.
At 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. And then, as a punishment, if you come to my shir, you have to remain for the Musar shir for half an hour by Rav Yaakovson. It's an amazing shir, usually in Chavis al-Havas, and Ma'ariv following in about 10:15. Zok the Mishnah. Now, the Mishnah starts off telling us the obvious. Basically the case that we already had yesterday. This is your typical case of pigul, where you do kmitza, and during the kmitza you're having a thought to yourself, you're thinking to yourself, you're going to eat, not the koimetz, but the rest, the leftover, which is mutter to kayanim, you're going to eat it. Instead of today, the allotted time that you're allowed to eat the mincha, I'm going to eat it tomorrow, past the allotted time. Or you think to yourself, while you're doing the kmitza, you're going to do the haktara in the wrong time. Says the Mishnah, the Gemara is going to explain why do I need to say this. But Rabbi Yossi, who says a tremendous chiddush in the second part of the Mishnah, in this part of the Mishnah, he agrees to everybody that this is your typical case of pigul, and if somebody were to eat the mincha, he would be chayev charis. Even on that day, if you eat, once you have machshavas pigul, you chayev charis immediately as soon as you eat it. Now here comes the bam chiddush of Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi Omer, lahaktir levanasa lemachar. If somebody is doing kmitza, regular kmitza on the silas, but he thinks to himself a machshava in another action. He's going somewhere else. He's going to the levina part, right? Every mincha has two components in order to be matir the flour for the kohanim. There's two matirim. First you have to do kmitza on the silas, and then you take the levina and you put it on the mizbeach as well. You take the kmitza and the silas you put on the mizbeach, and you take the levina, which is also, you know what? Let's start from the beginning. How does this work? They asked Hillel. The first question on live was about this exact topic. So let's say it. If I didn't say it correctly, there's a Rashi on the Aleph on the top. The top Rashi explains it a little bit. But basically, whether you put the oil in the bowl first, you put the flour in the bowl. This is a klishar. So you mekadesh the flour. Then you take a scoop. The same way you take the scoop of flour, you take the scoop of levina out of the levina package. You go like this, you swipe it, we said like a kederach shebnei adam, like this. You have now a fistful of levina. What do you do with this levina? You put it on top of the silas. Now Rashi and Yadal asked the kasha, if you put it on top of the silas, and I have to take my kmitza from the middle of the silas, I got a levina here. And I cannot mix up even one tiny grain of levina into my thing. Says Rashi, therefore, step number 2 would be, or 3, whatever step I'm holding at, you remove the levina to the side. You push it to the side. Then you do a kmitza with the silas. You go like this, sideways, not like that, sorry. Maybe this is a teiku. You go like this, and you're maktir this. Now, does it matter what you maktir first? No. I could be maktir the levina first. What? Sorry, you're right. You put it into a kli because you need an extra kedusha. Right? Okay. There's other steps I forgot. There's oil, there's mixing, there's blila. I'm talking about now the kmitza and how it works relatively to the levina. Okay? So now what happened was he's doing the step of removing the silas. He's going like this with his hand, and he's thinking to himself that when I do the levina, I'm going to do levina tomorrow. So you understand the problem here. The problem is I'm doing an action with kmitzas soilas, and I'm thinking about an action of kmitzas levina, or moving the levina. It's two separate actions.
You need both of them in order to do the mincha.
Oh, so maybe they're not connected, or maybe they are connected. If they're not connected, says Rabbi Yossi, I cannot think from one to the other. If they have some sort of connection, how do we have a connection? We're going to see. If they're connected, not because they're just in the same mincha, but if they need each other, if they're dependent on each other, or if they work in a certain order, in order to get to one, you have to do the other, then they're connected, and then the machshav of one could ruin the other. They could be chal on each other. But if they're independent of each other, they're separate actions, then what does one thing have to do with the other? If a guy does a shkita today, and he's doing a mincha tomorrow, obviously one has nothing to do with the other. So let's see inside. If they're connected, yes. So we're going to see everything. We're going to talk about Chatzi Mater, confuse everybody, then we're going to see that it's not Chatzi Mater in this mission. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yossi Yomer, Hasul, so what happened? Lahaktu levanos lemachar. He had in mind to do the levina tomorrow while he was doing the kmitza of the mincha, of the soilas. Rabbi Yossi Yomer, Hasul ve'im beikares. Pigul is not chal, but it does passel. The Chacham Yomer, Pigul v'chayom olav kares. Chacham say no. They're both connected, and therefore one has to do with the other. And the machshava on the kmitza of the soilus goes onto the levina. Amrullah, and I'll prove it to you. They say mashino zemen hazevach. When it comes to a carbon, when I'm doing an avodah of zrikas adam, I'm thinking about the imurim, which happen later on. Imurim and dam have nothing to do with each other, l'chayra. Yet they do have to do with each other. So you see that I don't have to have, they don't, as long as they're within one service of the carbon, my pigo machshava on one avodah works on another avodah. Omer lahen, no, it's not a good raya from a carbon. Sha'zevach domoy upsori ve'imurav echad. When it comes to a carbon, the blood, the meat, the imurim, the sacrificial parts, imurim are the sacrificial parts, right? There's some parts of the animal that you put on the mizbeach, the kidney, whatever you put on. So those imurim are all one. Now I'm going to jump to the end of the sugya and explain to you what the Mishnah means according to what Rabbi Yossi really meant here. Rabbi Yossi is saying that it's one. It's one of the same. Meaning that in order to get to the imurim, you have to do zrikas adam. So if you have to do zrikas adam, so my machshava on zrikas adam has to do with the imurim. I can think about imurim while I'm doing zrikas adam, because the only way I can put the imurim and the basar on the mizbeach is if I do zrikas adam. Masha Enkein, says the Mishnah, Levina is not held up by anything. I can put the Levina on whenever I want. I don't have to wait for the Kmitza. I can put the Levina on first. So Mela, since it's not dependent on the Kmitza, so I can't think about from one to the other. Very simple. That's the Maskonas Hasu. Says the Gemara, why did the Mishnah start off saying, oh, Rabbi Yossi agrees to the typical case of Pigul? Says the Gemara, very simple. I want to tell us the Seifa, the Chidush, that one Pigul, one Avodah, you can't do on another Avodah. Like the Levanas Lamacha Rabbi Yossi and Apostle, the Ein by Karas. Now the same time of the Rabbi Yossi, I would think like Noam thought. Exactly what Noam was saying, I want to tell you, no, that's not the pshat. It's not about Chatzim Mater. What's Chatzim Mater? Over here, it's a little bit different than usual, but over here you have two components that allow the kohanim to eat the flour. You have to put the komitz of the flour on the mizbeach. You have to put the komitz of the levina on the mizbeach. You need both. One without the other. The kmitza, the soilus is also the kohanim. So I need both. Now the same time the Rabbi Yossi mishum the kesava eme faglim b'chatzim matir. Maybe Rabbi Yossi held that I need to be mefagel on both, on the levina and the kmitza. Vafilu reishin nami, in a typical case of Pigul, it would also be a problem. What was the case of Pigul? I'm thinking about doing kmitza. While I'm doing kmitza, I'm thinking I'm gonna eat the shirayim tomorrow. Wait a minute. What about the levina? The levina is the second component. It doesn't mention anything about levina. Maybe Rabbi Yossi holds in order for me to be aser the shirayim, I have to think about the kmitza and the levina. I need both matirim. He says no, that's not the pshat in the Mishnah. So what is the pshat in the Mishnah? What is the pshat? A mater mefageles hamater. A new concept, a new yisod that we never heard of. A new musig in Shas. A mater mefageles hamater. When I'm doing one mater, I cannot think about another mater. Nothing to do with chatzi mater. It sounds similar. Nothing to do. I have two things that are going on here. I can't think from one to the other. If each one is an individual thing, I can't think one to the other. Right, they're separate, they're individual. That's all it's called, not to get excited. Okay. To explain it better, we see the similar concept. Levi, you can watch during your call, you can watch live. Put on the screen. Listen to this. This is amazing. You have lechem aponim. On the lechem aponim, you have 2 spoonfuls of levina. You cannot think pigul thoughts from spoon A to spoon B. Amazing. Even though, as the Gemara is going to explain in a second, even though they look the same, they are different because they're separated. So one cannot affect the other. According to Rabbi Yossi.
If your thoughts are not in play, how does...
No, the thoughts are in play to that specific spoon. That specific spoon has no play to the other spoon that you didn't think about it. It's all in the head. It's all in the mind. Now the Gemara explains, what's the big chiddush? Okay, they're both matirim. Why are two spoons of levina different than a levina and a kmitza? Halachically, misvara, what is the difference? Yes, physically they look the same. And maybe I'll think that one goes to the other. But misvara, if you understand, logically, why one doesn't have effect on the other, because they're individuals, and one individual doesn't go to the other individual, so what difference does it make if they look the same? They're both individual bezichin. Mao the same all the time. There be Yosef Belavayna Mishum de Lav Mina the Mincha they're different meaning. Alo Bishne Bezich Lavayna the Mina the Hadadininu and the Mifag the Hadadi Kumash Malon. No, look deeper than that. That's a very balabat. That's a superficial way of looking at it. Oh, they look the same. Yes, but halachically, logically, misvara, they're both very different. Now, the Gemara says, wait a minute. You're telling me that Rabbi Yossi is ignoring this whole concept of one min and two minim? That's going to go directly against what we seemingly see in our Mishnah. It says mufurish in our Mishnah. What was their big raya? Why is it any different than imurim in a zevach? Over here he says that the daven is one min, and levayna and kmitz are two minim. Says the Gemara, no, you didn't understand Pshat in the Mishnah. Pshat in the Mishnah is different. It's not a doichet. This is the real deal. This is a real good Pshat. What did he mean to say that the levayna is not part of the mincha? Eda be'ikov mincha. He's not waiting for the kmitz of the mincha. He's not held up by anything. He's all by himself. He's very independent. The levayna can be put on the mizbeach at any given time, even before the kmitza. Right. You need to matirim in order to the shirayim, but it's not dependent on the koimitz, on the kmitza.
So it's called a Chatzi Matir if I'm dependent on the other one, and it's called Shnei Matirim if it's...
A matir, methalik b'matir, I can't get from one matir to another matir. Because they're individual. Exactly. You do each one by themselves. According to Rabbi Yossi, again, this is not how the Tanakhama, this is not how Rabbanan learn. And when you see there's a little bit of a distinction in Rabbanan as well, they also say something similar. The lav kehechad. Now, this is one of the longest sentences ever. The lav kehechad ma'akev lu koimitz l'shirayim. This is not like by shirayim that you need to come onto the koimitz to go on the mizbeach. The kama beloy miskatri koimitz lo misach l'shirayim. As long as you didn't put the kmitz on the mizbeach, you cannot eat the shirayim. Hachem nami ma'akev lo levayna. Maybe I would say that the kmitza holds the levayna back. Ella, what is it? They're both independent of each other, and therefore, says Rabbi Yossi, one machshava doesn't affect the other one. Rabbanan say, they also agree to this concept, in theory, that I can't jump from one matter to the other matter. But they say, wait a minute, it's not in every case. So he puts in the parentheses here, and that's basically what Rashi says. Now you have the two kvasim that come on Shavuos that are matir the bread on Shavuos, right? You bring the two lachmi toida on Shavuos. How could the kohanim eat the bread? If you bring the two kvasim that come on Shavuos. And the bread, we said, comes to be matir the chodosh of the Beis Hamikdash. The chodosh of the world is mitar by the Omer. A month later, whatever, you bring the Lechamim, or 50 days later, you bring the Lechamim that are Matir Chodesh in the Beis HaMikdash. Now, so he says, what if I thought, over there, by the sheep, if I'm thinking about one sheep versus the other one, so it's not pigul. Why? Because they're not in one kli. They're not attached in any way. They're two separate sheep. But over here, with the levayna was put into the bowl together with the soiles to start out with in the first bowl. So they have a connection now. Now they're family. They're one food, basically. Later on, you separated them. But at one point in time, they were one kli. Say chachamim, by bazai, one could have a machshava on the other. They're connected. How? Through the kli.
What about the bezichin?
Oh. So, in the bezichin, what would be? They're not. They're not connected.
Maybe they came from the same thing.
What?
Did they come from the same thing?
No, they're not connected. In by us they're connected. By the mincha they're connected. The levoin and the koimets, and that's why they're not mitzvah. Omer Rabbi Okay, brand new sugya. You're still confused from yesterday from Rav's Raya. We have a whole new sugya. Omer Rabbi Ligod levoino bizarre pasul. So one of the steps is you have the levoina sitting on top of the soilus. You move it to the side, you gather it, and you bring it to the mizbeach. This gathering part, getting it together, can Yisrael do it? What's the shayla?
Levona also goes into another kutar?
No, not that I know of. Menachem, levoina goes into klisharis?
In another kutar?
No.
No, in the room. After you put the levine on top of it.
Is Yisrael at the same mindset?
No, the guy bringing it? Once he gives it, he says, this is for, he designates it, and that's it. The Kohen could ruin it, which is during the Avodah. It has to be during the Avodah. During his Avodah, he can ruin it. Somebody can't ruin something, I can't ruin something you're doing. You're middle of Avodah, I can have an effect on your Avodah. Omer Rabbi Yanai likud levana b'zor pasul. My time, Omer Rabbi Yirmiyah Mishumay Lacha Nagudo. This is part of Halacha, right? There's 4 avodas we said by Kmitza, by Mincha. There's the Kmitza, there's the Kabbalah, putting in a Kli, then there's the Halacha towards the Mizbeach, and then there's putting it on the Mizbeach. The Halacha part, moving it into the right direction, is still moving it towards the Mizbeach. And who has to do that? A Kohen. So if Yisrael does any part of it, it's a problem. Now you're going to tell me, wait a minute, Halacha means walking maybe. Halacha means walking. Ooh, I forgot to put the microphone in. We can still do it, but okay. Maybe Shvach sound today. Should have reminded me. That's okay for the club of those people. Now he holds, and we had a sugya in Zvachim, whether moving in the direction of the Mizbeach is considered a halacha, and he's going to hold like the Shita, that moving in the right direction, even though you're not moving your feet, is a halacha. Why? Because it doesn't mention anywhere in the Torah you have to walk. The Torah says, Bikrivu, bring it closer to the, not Agish, you have to bring it closer to the Mizbeach. Oh. So bringing closer doesn't matter with your feet or with your hands. As you're bringing closer, you're doing the Avodah. If you're Yisrael, you're passing for the Avodah. Don't touch the Levina. We learned yesterday in the Mishnah. Zeklal, when it comes to Pigol, the Mishnah mentioned 4 avodas. Kol hakoimetz, v'noisim b'kli, v'hamoylech v'hamaktiv. Those 4 things. Do kmitza, putting in the kli, pelacha, and putting in the mizbeh. Says the Gemara, what's comparable to shchita? Kmitza. Because we know in Karban we have 4 avodas. Shchita, Kabbalah, Hilach, and Zrika. The Chayra, the Mishnah is telling us that those same 4 avodas that we have by a Karban apply also to a Mincha. In what way? That the Kmitza is similar to Shchita. Okay, now we're going to skip step number 2, because that's the problem. And we're going to go to step number 3. Moilech, hainu, nami hainu, moilech. Walking to the Mizbeach, bringing it towards the Mizbeach, is similar to a Karban, Halacha. And step number 4, Makdir, putting the Kmitza on top of the Mizbeach, hainu zoyreh. That's comparable to Zrika Be'ekar. El Anoisim B'Kli, step number 2, putting the Kmitza inside a Kli. How do you put it inside a Kli? With your hand, you take your hand, you dump it into the Kli. Michael of it. How could you be Mfago? How could you say that that's considered an avodah, which during that putting into the kli, I'm thinking an intent of chutz l'zman, chutz l'malkim. Why? If you're going to say it's exactly like Kabbalah, midami. How can you compare the two? Pasam and Mela. Over there, the blood is spraying out, pouring out by itself. You're just catching it. If you learn Zvachim, this kash is obvious. Because we know that you can't pick the blood off the floor, it has to come directly out of the animal, different types of blood. Over here, it's similar to picking it up off the floor. You're taking it with your hand, you're putting it into a kli. There's no similarity to Kabbalah, l'chayra. The kivan, so we have to say a logic, a svara over here. That what? The kivan law. Since you must do this avodah of accepting it, putting it into a kli, avodah chashuvahi, akach mashvilo ki Kabbalah. Says the Gemara, no, not that it's similar physically, but I'll take the concept from over there. Just like over there, you have to catch the blood. So anything that you have to do, if you have to bring this levina towards the mizbeach, then automatically becomes an avodah. It becomes an avodah. Anything that's necessary becomes an avodah, and anything that's an avodah, I could be mefagel in. This likita of the levina, I must do avodah chashuvi. And therefore, I say it's similar to ilacha. Not that it's so likita.
That's what will be possible bizarre.
That's why it will be possible bizarre, because it's part of the ilacha. Anything that's necessary to do is an avodah. So since it's necessary to gather the levina from on top of the mincha, so it's part of the ilacha. So Zimar Loi, I don't need your logic. Well, why did I come onto this logic? Because I said it's not similar to Kabbalah. But if I could show you that it's similar to Kabbalah, then I don't need the logic. And if I don't have the logic, then I still don't know what Likita is. Then I'm not going to have a good shot on Likita. I mean, right now I'm saying Likita is something necessary, and something necessary just proved to you is an avodah from logic. But if I get rid of that logic, that something that's necessary is an avodah, I don't have that logic, so something that's necessary is not necessarily an avodah. So what is Likita? Then I won't have a good raya that Likita is asr bizarre. No what? Loy the domi Kabbalah. Oh, the kakashi lo chosim memelach kashaka v'rami. You asked me, Kasha, why is it similar? Why is putting a mincha inside a kli similar to catching blood in a vessel? Mitli tarvai kedushas kliu. The reason is because by Kabbalah Saddam, the kli is mekadeshet. Mali memelo, mali kashaka v'rami. What's the difference of the kli is mekadesh by catching it out of the air, or catching it by you putting it into the kli? That's how Kabbalah works. And Memela, I don't really have a strong raya that Likita, which is possible as well. Says the Mishnah. Yeah. Right. This last raya we don't know. Zok the Mishnah. Unbelievable. We are going to discuss whether or not a person who has a machshava pickle to part of the animal, or one of the two animals, or one of the two breads, does the pigul spread to the other stuff? On Shavuos he brings 2 sheep and 2 breads, and he only had in mind to be mefagel one of the 2 breads. When he was being makter, right? How could a kohen eat the 12 breads? How could the kohanim split the 12 breads? By putting the 2 spoons on the mizbeach. You have to be makter the levayim. The kohen, by doing so, he was thinking to himself, I want 6 out of the 12 breads to be pigul. Maybe that has no effect on the other 6. Maybe the kohanim could eat that and not get karas. Yes, his machshava works to isolate it and say only that specific bread is karas. Vasheni possible ve'im karas. But it would affect the second bread that is possible. It would affect the other bread. All the 12 lachamim become possible. But you don't get karas by eating the other 6. You only get karas by eating the first 6 that he thought about. There's a pigul b'chayim olav karas. I'm saying there's no difference. Let's see a little bit of the Gemara. 4 or 5 lines. Omer Avuna. Unbelievable. If you have an animal, and l'chayra, Toyza says maybe that they're not connected, but let's say the whole animal is in one piece, and I think about doing pigul on the right side of the animal, the right thigh, my pigul machshava doesn't go to the left. And if I take a bite out of that thigh, out of that pulki, I'm not chayiv kares. because the whole pigul was specific to that thigh.
So
Okay?
it becomes possible.
Yeah, it becomes possible. Pigul b'yorshel yimin lo nispagli yorshel small. My taima iboisem svara v'iboisem ekro. Iboisem svara lo yadivim machshava memaisa tumo. If I have an animal, that's not mamish the same case. I have an animal that its right leg was severed off the animal, and it became tomei. Nobody has a havamina that the left leg that's not attached to it becomes tomei. Oh, so yes. So what's the connection? Because by tuma, this is the Rashba. By tuma, it has to do with physicality. If one thing touches the other, fine. But by pigul, it's in the machshava, and the machshava won't have an effect on the other thing. Right. The machshava is this exactly. Thank you. Just like tuma, it's disconnected because over there it's in the physical. So over here, when we're talking about the mental, I disconnected it mentally. Shkoya, that's a good husband. Yeah. He said it with the back tzenu. Lo yadifa machshava memaisa tuma. Ilutam echadeber mitam leikulei. No. The boy say mekro. Vanevesh oichelas mimenu avoino tiso mimenu v'loy mechaveroi. So he learns the pasuk mimenu as one part of the animal, not the whole animal. Chacham are going to learn mimenu means the whole thing. But he learns that upon him, one thigh doesn't affect the other thigh. Adkan, have a great day. What? Sounds like?
Discussion.